Do you ever feel like your spouse isn't on the same page when you're driving and you're going for the thing? You feel like you're having to drag that person along? Well, it doesn't always have to be like that. In fact, if you start communicating with your spouse, you can see a huge difference. I'm Ben and I am with my wife, Kristen, and about a decade ago, we had a construction company that we grew up to over 6 figures. We had one bad job that went really bad. We almost lost our marriage and we lost our business because we did not have the proper guardrails in place. Fast forward to thousands of dollars spent in marriage conferences and investing into our marriage. We have built our marriage stronger than ever and a new construction company that we have grew to over 7 figures.
When you say like, why is it taking so long to get you to move? I think fear of failure is huge.
Because you saw yourself only so small and so like in this little box. And I just, like I said from the beginning, like I just knew there was way, way more in there.
For me, it's like that realization that the person that I want to become is on the other side of that thing that I'm terrified to do. What advice do you have for husbands who have to deal with a wife who just won't come alongside the vision?
Good night. Let's sit down and talk about this.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about this, sister.
Go. I'm giving you the floor.
Okay, how about this for you?
You didn't answer my question.
Well, I'm answering your question with
this
the question.
This is a free question.
I'm asking your question with the question. What did it take you, Mrs. I got my heels in the ground, to actually step out and do something?
Context. You need to give more context.
Okay.
Because this looks different probably for everybody. It could be because not all husband and wives are supposed to be doing the same business at the same time.
That's true. And probably some shouldn't. Some just need to be the supporting role at home. Or I always look at like, you look like the Spartans, like the, you ever seen, 300?
The Spartans. Okay, go on.
300?
No, it's just a funny reference.
Well, think about the concept, like the woman, the wife, she stayed at home and like prepared her husband for battle, took care of the kids, did the whole thing. And then the husband, all he did was prepare for war. And then when he went out, they kicked some butt and did the thing, right? So it's like not every couple should be in business together. But I believe there is something great inside of you. I think there's something great inside of everybody. Like, I'm not saying like you're the only special one, but you are the special one. You know what I mean? So it's like tough to have this conversation because you are, I think you're incredible.
Benjamin. What a way to start the podcast.
I think you have so much talent that you haven't even tapped into yet. Like full on potential that you aren't even scratching the surface. That's what I believe. And I've seen that in you from that night that we met. How you've developed as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, and you continue to grow and be better and better like every day, and like you want to be better and better every day. And yet there's still so much in you that you haven't even tapped into yet. And I love seeing when you like start like hitting those veins of like, oh, and then you get all fiery, passionate. Because you already know I'm that person. I'm already that on 10 kind of person.
On 11.
On 11 constantly. Even on my down, I'm on 11. You know what I mean? So I believe I seen those in you, but you did not see that in yourself.
That's very sweet of you, first of all. What I find funny, though, is that what you say is barely scratching the surface. To me, I feel like I'm in the deep end. So it's just an interesting perspective and how everyone's different. But also I think like a God-given ability that you have as my husband to see things in me. And the same thing I think wives have to see in their husbands too. It's like a God-given just ability to see those things, And so for us and our what took so long to get my heels out of the ground, as you say.
It's a good analogy.
I think it wasn't anything that you personally could have done directly, I guess. I think there's little things that you definitely contribute to, but a lot of it was just like God having to work on me and my own self growth and development because we all have limiting beliefs. We all have mindset stuff. We all have destructive thought patterns, insecurities. We all have like self deprecating moments. And I think because we know ourselves the best, we can see the worst in ourselves and think um, we're not capable of what others try to call out in us, I guess. So I think it's like a lifelong journey of us all just like self-discovery, trying to get better at those things. But as my husband, I'd say one thing that you did with me, first of all, you have to learn patience, which is,
That's like,
that's a 4-letter word to you.
yes, patience.
Patience. Things take time and not everyone matures or develops at the same rate. And so, but I think the biggest thing that you did for me was just kind of like sowing seeds of encouragement into me and like planting seeds of belief. And so just that, because other people would try to call those things out in me. And it's like learning to receive a compliment or learning to acknowledge those things or learning to actually listen rather than brush them off. Cause I don't know if it's a women thing or just person in general, but an inability to take a compliment. We want to like be if you get complimented on like your sweater's cute, it's like, oh, well, it was only $4 on Target clearance or something. It's like, for some reason we want to deflect those things. And how much more so when it's about our character and something that feels uncomfortable to, I don't know, maybe it's like a false sense of humility or something. But I think
it could be go deeper into, and this is like a side journey, but maybe an important one of how we were raised.
yeah.
Like, was it called out? Was it called out when you were young? Probably not. Like, how do you speak to your kids now? Like, what do you speak over them? You know what I mean? Like from 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 birth almost, as they're growing and as they're getting older and as they're developing things and like learning how to do things, like, do we call things out of them and rise them up to be higher? Do we encourage them? Do we lift them up?
Yeah.
That if you've never had that before, and then when somebody does encourage you, someone does give you a compliment, you don't know how to accept it. But imagine a kid that goes into adulthood that's like been complimented, been loved on by their parents, been affirmed by their dad, affirmed by their mom, affirmed by, like, you know what I mean? And then as they come into adulthood and someone gives them a compliment, it's just like, thank you. Like, it's not even accepting, cool, yeah, but like, because they already know that. They already know who they are. You know
Like
what I
that
mean?
security
Yeah.
of your identity. Well, and what's interesting is what comes to mind, even when you say that, is almost the other side can be detrimental too, in a sense that like I grew up like a good kid. I was like teacher's pet, like straight A's. I mean, for the most part, it went downhill at one point, but
Wow.
I was like teacher's pet, teacher's aide. They even would like let me cut class and would write me in as an A, letting out the
One
secrets.
of those kids.
And I'd go downtown with my friend and have bagels and smoothies during my Spanish class or my sign language class. But even in that, it's like I got a lot of affirmation and validation because of my grades and because of my performance. And I think that can make you very performance based in your identity. And so then when I mess up or what I deem in my own mind as a mess up, then it's like I lose love, like, I mean, if we get really down to the root, it's like you no longer approve of me or
'Cause you
love me
messed
the
up.
same because it's a performance based affirmation. And so and I've heard this, I think our youth pastor said this actually, and it was very convicting to me about how we are with our own kids. Cause he was saying like, when your kids color, they're little and they like scribble crayon all over a picture and mommy, I drew this for you. And then the knee jerk reaction, we think we're being a good mom, is like, that's the best, most beautiful picture I've ever seen. And then what are you like? So now they're going to grow up thinking they're a Picasso because you like blew them up like that, versus giving a compliment that's like, wow, I really love your use of color. I really love this part. And so affirming those different things, but not this like fake, you're the best, you're so amazing. Because then when they do make a mistake or they do mess up or they do fail in something,
Right.
their whole self-worth is shattered because it was all wrapped up in always being the best at something. And I think sports can probably bring that out a lot of in people, athletics and like, parents trying to live vicariously through their kids. I don't feel like my parents did that, but I just know like friends that I had was like, you have to be, like those parents on the sidelines.
Yeah.
They're
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hey, but it's like there's so much pressure because maybe they didn't make it in something they wanted to
Oh
do.
yeah.
So they're like,
Yeah.
now you have to make it.
You
This is
have
my
to do it.
second chance
Yeah.
at victory or a trophy,
Because sometimes our youngest, how he's a little bit more confident.
He's very confident.
He's a little
How'd
confident
that happen?
sometimes. I don't know where he got that from.
Some
But
of it's great.
sometimes he's a little too confident, and sometimes as we're watching him play basketball, it's like, and some kids like a little bit better than them, and like kind of schooling them. I like it. No,
Hmm.
I'm not rubbing it. See, I'm what not like that, but just like because now he has to figure it out. Now he
Hmm.
has to have those feelings of like doubt and like the unbelief feeling of like, oh man, maybe I'm not. It's like because then when we come to the sideline and we're on the way to home, it's like, see, buddy, this is why we have to practice.
Yeah.
This is why we have to get better. Like, is that kid better than you? Yeah, he is, but not. He doesn't always have to be.
Hmm.
Like, if that's the goal, like now it's like, how can I beat that kid? Well, he
Yeah.
was faster doing this and dribbling this way, and so now let's work on that. Let's work on those dribbles. Let's work on like driving and shoot. So it's like you don't just have this God given talent and you're better than everybody. Like, no, you have to put in the work every day. So it's having those moments too. You know what I mean? So.
Hmm.
I just no. I guess it kind of came out wrong. I love when he, you know what I mean. I love when he loses. Like no, it's just like because they're teachable moments,
Yeah.
and when you can give your child a teachable moment that makes him better, makes him stronger. Because we go through life, we have so many moments where they can shape us, they can mold us into a direction where we might head for the rest of our adulthood. So I think as a parent, like we need to really capitalize on those moments.
Hmm.
Hey there, we hope you are enjoying this conversation. But hey, we had a quick question for you. Right now, currently, who is in your corner for your marriage? One thing we know about the top athletes, the top business owners, the top leaders is that they all can't do it without the support.
That's right. And when it comes to a couple in business, it's the same way. Imagine what it could be like, even if you're not in crisis. Maybe everything's going great. But imagine what it could be like to have a couple in your corner, encouraging you and making sure you guys stay aligned as you continue down your path together.
Or maybe you are in crisis mode and you have no idea where to even start. Well, we can help you with that too.
There is going to be a link in the description below. You can click that link and you can go ahead and book a discovery call with us. We would love to get to know you, hear your story, and see if we might be a good fit to help you on your path moving forward.
Let's get back into this conversation.
A lot of that is deep in people's heart, and it can take years to uncover those things,
That was a long side journey to get back.
That was a really
to
long
you.
side journey, but that was really helpful. Why? It doesn't have to be back on me.
Well, we're talking about you.
I just mean in general, like husbands and wives, like trying to call things out in themselves it's not just about, hey, I said something. Why don't you believe me?
Yeah.
It's not my lack of trust in you. It's not that I don't believe what you're saying. It's that behind the compliment I just heard is probably decades of junk and things that have wired me to believe the way that I do. And so it's not about, I don't know, it's not so much you or what you're doing wrong. I mean, it could be because if you make fun of your spouse, if you
Yeah.
rub their mistakes in their face, if you put them down, if you make fun of them, I think there's so much about communication. And I know we know people that have like a lot of friendly banter between
What's your
husband and wife.
favorite?
Which I think some of we do that, like we do that sometimes, but we're always careful.
You get feisty sometimes.
We're always careful to not cross the line. And if we do on accident, like be quick to apologize and own up to it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be tearing you down with my words. And those things can so deeply affect us and we don't realize it. And so if maybe that's the relationship that you've had is picking on each other all the time and
Yeah.
we think it's funny, it's like that's something that like bros do,
Mm-hmm.
But like husband and wife at some point, like I want to know that you believe in me. I want to know that our marriage is a safe place. I want to know that I'm allowed to mess up here and I'm still growing and that your love for me doesn't change. And so much of that is, like I said, just like continually planting those seeds of belief. And when I do make a mistake, I do mess up on something, that you're there to encourage me and like help me get back on my feet and to keep going, that we don't come up against something and because so much of it's just insecurity, I guess, at the root of it. When you say like why is it taking so long to get you to move?
Mm-hmm.
I think fear of failure
Mm.
is huge,
Yeah.
and that can manifest itself in so many different ways in our life. And that's been a big personal journey I've been on. I'd say, I mean, obviously your whole life, but I'd say this last year has been huge for me on my own personal, like being willing to invest in myself and getting better in an area, in multiple areas, and then stepping out and doing those things that I'm scared to do
Yeah.
and overcoming that. And then, wait, I didn't die. I'm still here. And even though it was embarrassing, and I'm the first to run to you and tell you all my embarrassing little moments when I have stepped out to do things like that. And you just laugh with me, but then you're encouraging and it's helpful. But I think that's been a huge one for me, was just needing to and that's a literally years long journey. And so being patient and then on my end, and this is just me speaking for myself, but it's like that realization that the person that I want to become, like I have dreams in my head and in my heart, I have things and goals and
Bigger than what I've shown you.
well,
Bigger.
actually, yeah,
Let's
some
go.
of them.
Let's go.
But just thinking about, and wives in general, like
Yeah.
there's things you want to do, but there's fear holding you back. And so realizing that, and maybe this is age, maybe this is an age thing too, of like when you near the next decade and you start to reflect and you're like, whoa, I'm going to be in that age bracket of people. Like when I was little, I thought those people were old.
Right.
And now it's like, I don't feel old at all. And yet so just reflecting on, at the end of my life, I'm going to be accountable to God for what I did. And
Mm.
my time is getting shorter, not longer. And at some point, am I going to take this seriously or am I not? Because I'm getting less time, not more time.
Right.
And so for me, it's like that realization that the person that I want to become is on the other side of that thing that I'm terrified to do and the move that I'm terrified to make, And so that's like been a self-reflection thing that takes a lot of encouragement from you and people in my life and just my relationship with God. And I think looking at our kids, I want them to reflect on our life and be proud of us and be inspired by us
Right.
and not feel held back by us or anything like that. I want to set a good example for our kids. I don't want them to be afraid to go after their dreams.
Yeah.
And I can tell them that till I'm blue in the face, but they're going to follow my
They're
footsteps.
gonna
They're
watch
not going to
us
just
first before
listen.
before anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when they have those ideas for like our kids, when they have those ideas and they want to do the thing. Like I like the practical too. Like let's get tactical and practical like on those ideas. Because it's like it's kind of goes back to that just affirming to affirm, right? That's a great idea. Yeah, you should just do that business when it's like really reality is like, no, you shouldn't, because that's like a terrible idea. But like, well, let's hone it in because you're thinking, you got that brain that's moving, it's grooving, it's thinking, and I think even with our daughter, right, of like you even just like showing her like the spreadsheet of how much is this the baked goods cost and each scone and each cookie, like breaking it down per like unit, and then like the bag cost it, and then just like so her mind, it's like I want to have a bakery and do all this. Oh, that's great. You make fantastic food, like you'll sell, but like for it to be profitable, what
Mhm.
are some other avenues? And then like as we kind of stepped into this whole like coaching world and this like content creation world, and then all of a sudden she's just like saw it from a different lens too, like her baking stuff. Oh, now I can teach young girls how to make this, with their moms, and I'm like, now that's what I'm talking about, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean, because like now you're thinking just like outside of the box, something that's bigger than even you. And at 12, she's like thinking of all these things, and it's like now we can hone that in, and then it's like we have the warehouse space, like throw on the workshop and let's just see, you
Yeah.
know, like
And I think that's, we've been a really good balance in that and have been needed. And I've had to work really hard in that, not because my reflex can sometimes be all the reasons why it won't work. And so while I've been on that journey for myself, not putting that on her either, because like you're saying, to kind of challenge ideas in a way that's constructive, like
yeah,
let's think through and let's like consider all these different things so we can get to the right thing first, I guess, versus like, well, are you sure you might run up against this? You might do this and the economy and money, and that's going to be expensive, like not speaking those kinds of things, but challenging in a way that's constructive, not just like putting my fears on her or my
Mhm.
negativity on her. As a parent, that's been a really big lesson for me because it's like I've got my own stuff I've been working through my whole life. And I don't want to put that on her to where now she's going to have to walk through that her whole life.
Yeah.
And so I love the confidence that she has. And she really does have this, like, oh, well, you just do
You
this.
just do it. It's
And it's
easy.
like on camera and in public and in front of a crowd and like all these things. And I'm like, it doesn't scare you. Praise the Lord. That's so good. And I just like keep my mouth shut, and just be encouraging. That's been a big lesson as a parent. So, yeah.
Yeah, because as it stems, as we know, as we've talked to couples, as we've just like letting people talk and like just getting to know people, you just see insecurities, you see fear, and it's portrayed in
Hmm.
different ways for different couples. And then especially when one couple's fired up, they want to go, or she wants to do this, and but then the other one is like slow to move because it's like, so we could easily like, come on, you're holding me back, what are you doing? It's like,
Hmm.
number one, first of all, you picked that person. Okay, so I'm just going on 11 really quick here.
Okay, we're
Like,
here.
you picked that person,
Hmm.
so now you need to have the patience for that person.
Hmm. Okay, so I have a question for you then.
Go on.
Is what would you say you've learned in your journey of patience
Mm.
with me? Because you've changed a lot.
I have.
You were very much like the driver, like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, and I
And
still
then
have those moments that,
you
yeah.
do. You do. But you've learned a lot in your approach.
Yeah,
And there's been fruit from it, you know?
thank you.
Yeah. So what'd you learn?
Um, God is good. No, I believe when I learned what the husband's role is supposed to be, and that is to protect, it is to provide, but it also is to encourage, to lift up, to build. So in the Bible, where it says, Christ, husbands are to love their spouses, Christ loves the church. Christ did so much for the church in his death, burial, and resurrection. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's like it's not just to provide, it's not just to protect, it's not just to love you and to have a place of security for you, but it's so much more than that. Now I'm not saying that I'm like husbands are Christ, but the Bible says love her like Christ loves the church. From that perspective, that lens, like this is a journey. This is still is a journey. Like I don't think any husband that says we've mastered this, unless the dude's like 60, 70 years in, and it's like, all right, let's talk about it. But even then, because it's like, because we change, we
Yeah.
constantly change every year. We are growing, we're learning, we're developing, we're all the things like from where we first met to where we are today. Like
We're different
those
people.
people, we don't have the same friends
Yeah.
because they don't even recognize us. They like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They if those same people were to see you today, they wouldn't even know who you are. That's just straight up, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
which is good because we should be growing, we should be learning, we should be like going into a direction where like life is taking us and not just being stuck back and being held back. So in that thought, right, of how I had to learn because obviously we all have different levels of patience, as you kindly said, patience and even like love and like how we like going back to like how we were raised and like how maybe like brash or like harsh like you could be. It's just like I never remember like my dad was a little more stern love and harsh and like little bit of rough around the edges, little loud, you know what I mean? So but then just so I had to me personally, I had to learn, I had to grow, I had to walk in this daily. I had to have people around me that were patient. I think God blessed me with so many patient people in my life, including you being one of them. To like kind of slow me down though too, And now like there are moments where like I have that internal clock that's like when we need to go, we need to do this, but there's other moments where it's like we're chilling, we good, you don't need to get all worked up. So I think I've learned that. And then so in and learning you, like reading you like a little book, studying that book, I had to learn that certain things that I said weren't going to help
Yeah.
if I just
They did the opposite of
right.
what you
It's
were
just
trying to do.
like a what do you like a I was making an analogy, but it's
Stop.
probably get all weird. like a
Okay, move
like
on.
a turtle goes in the shell, like if you
Oh,
like get all like 'cause you to get the turtle to come out after it's too scared, it
mm.
takes it a bit, right? It's why it has a little hard shell. So that same thought, not saying you're a turtle, but
Like you'd spook me and I'd go back into
yeah. So
hiding.
you go back into hiding, and then it's like, okay, but slowly, come on, it's okay, like it's kind of like that. It's not saying that you're a turtle, but
But
saying
like
that
nurturing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
And
You know what
gently.
I'm talking about.
Right. Turtles. Totally.
Turtle. No, but because I can't just come at you like, come on, Kristen, like we got to go. Like, what are you doing? I have to be encouraging. I have to be nurturing. I have to call those things as not as though they were. Like, I got to bring you up. I got to sometimes I do have to force you into doing things because you needed that
Force.
content
In
to
certain
cash.
situations. In certain
Our
situations. Yes.
our now 2 years in with our coach.
A little
Um,
over a year. That's what I'm saying. That
Oh
was
yeah, a
kind of the
little over a year,
catalyst for
right.
this.
I
Yeah.
had to force you or
Force is like a really
okay,
intense word.
strongly encourage her to take this content to cash challenge with our coach.
Yeah.
I was we were kind of like binging, you say binging or like when you're
Binging.
binging
It's a
binging
verb.
on
Yeah.
the all of this podcast episodes and like
A lot
then
of personal development. Omar El Takori
yeah,
with the video department.
all the stuff. We were just like
Yes.
binging and doing all this stuff, and then he has his little ads in there, and I'm like, oh, that'd be cool, so cool. And I think I signed up first, right?
I think you signed me up.
I signed you up
Well, because I was
to
doing
do
social
like the
media.
webinar and all
Yeah.
that,
For the
and
construction company.
so I just knew that this would like it's like one of those moments where it's just like this will like I want you to like open your eyes and see a new world. It's kind of like what I thought because you saw yourself only so small and so like in this little box. And I just, like I said from the beginning, like I just knew there was way more in there. And so, in different moments, I've tried to like push and do this, and you just say you weren't having it, right? You can speak for you,
Correct.
right? You can, we're having a
Well, I think it's
conversation.
just you get comfortable with your life. I mean, I did because I was in ministry, like, so church and homeschool, church and homeschool, church and homeschool. Like, that was my life. And it was very routine. It was very predictable. It was very safe and comfortable. And I'm an introvert by nature, very introverted. And I just love being at home with my cozy blanket and my kids and the dog and a fireplace and just doing that. And so, yeah, it wasn't, yeah, I just was a creature of habit.
Right.
And
And
it's like
I,
nothing changes if nothing changes,
right.
is essentially where I was at.
Yeah. And I think for the husband, let's just start with the husbands. So for the husband that sees a lot in his wife, but the wife is stuck in routine, stuck in doing the same thing, like especially if you're like an A type business owner personality, that may not be the easiest to get your wife to like be on board. Even like because there's so many talented people, right? But they're just kind of like stuck doing the same thing or not really tapping into what actually God's created them to do. And so like with that, like I just knew like there was just so much more for you. Like there's just like, girl, like you're way too talented, way too blessed to be just, kind of doing the same thing, right? So we
And
did
disclaimer though, if you are a stay at home mom or a homeschool mom or in that season of life and that's your dream, that's amazing.
yeah, then dream
And that's
accomplished.
okay. And I was loving it and thriving in it. And yes, but there was like always this kind of little piece of feeling like there's something more.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're speaking to. So it wasn't that that's a less than lifestyle
No.
by any means.
No, it's because that's the lifestyle that at that time we wanted to create.
Yes. So there was this lingering sort of in the back of my mind, like what if possibility for something else specifically in business. So when it came to home life and kids, I was very content and very happy and loved and very grateful to get to do what I get
You
to
still do.
Yes. And I still do it. So I love that piece of it. So it wasn't that like, it's not like stay at home moms are any less than, I
No.
mean, that's an incredible work that you're doing and that's very needed in this world.
100%.
Yeah.
If you
Just
can,
disclaimer on
as
that.
a husband, if you can create a lifestyle where your wife can stay at home, homeschool, or even if it's not homeschool, co-op, or even the public school thing, but like
And if she
if
wants to,
if yeah, if you can create that lifestyle of a dream that she has, like,
yeah,
bro, like,
that's amazing.
let's encourage her in that season because that's a
Yeah,
lot of work.
yeah, yeah.
So, but on our story,
Mhm.
I knew that that there was something more, and just like yeah, I just knew you needed to be a little bit nudged. So I learned that not forcing you sometimes, but then other times it's like, especially like low risk. I think that was the thing. It was like learning what was like almost like a low risk for you.
Like a
And
low risk environment
yeah,
to
like
test it.
you can
Yeah.
just chill. Like, you didn't have to get all like, So that was like online. It was online. So it was like
Five days Zoom
you're in the comfort
calls.
of your own home.
My favorite place to be.
Yeah. So, and then
Yeah.
it just kind of opened your eyes to this journey that we're on, on today. And for that husband, that you know your wife well. I mean, hopefully, and it's you want to like, because like I think as a husband, like we're like fixers. We like to fix things. We want to solve the problem. That's just how our brains wired. I think most men would probably say yes to this. It's just like how we're like our God given ability, if you will. Like this is what like we just see a problem. Let's fix it. Hammer, you know, saw, whatever we have to do, we'll fix it. We can do it. And when it comes to a woman, obviously, you're not gonna be able to grab a hammer and fix her. You know what I mean? It's more delicate. She's a little flower, right?
There isn't a manual
There's not a manual for that.
step by step.
Especially no woman's created equally. Like they're all different. So different models. And I think that's like the journey of life too. It's that journey of a relationship it's like that dance, how, like as you learn and as you grow, as you date, as you pursue. I think because then I believe one of the detriments to a relationship is the stop of pursuit of the spouse.
Mhm.
And when you stop pursuing your spouse, you stop knowing her dreams. You're not on the same page anymore,
Yeah.
and now you're two different people that are not on the same page. And then when you have an idea and you want her to jump on with you, she's not even on the same ship as you, bro. Like she's heading that way and you're going that way. um so going back to like that pursuit of your spouse, in which we always encourage date nights.
Date nights. The
um
big deal.
because that helps with that communication piece, that you're still communicating, you're still pursuing, because we work so hard in the beginning to like land land the relationship
Lock it
and
in.
lock her
Get
right
the ring
in.
on.
We do all that pursuit, do all the jumps through all the hoops, do all the things, and then we get her, and then like that's kind of the end of it. For a lot of people do that, and then we get into bad situations, bad bad uh little seasons,
Yeah.
because you don't know each other anymore, and she's changed. She's not the same way she was 10 years ago, and you think she still is because you stopped checking in, you stopped pursuing. So as like a husband, I think the greatest thing that you can do is continue just to pursue your spouse.
And like asking those questions, like we're talking about on a date night when you're out doing something fun or you're having dinner, ask that question. Like, is there a dream? Like, what's one of your biggest dreams right now? Or what's
Yeah.
something that you have in your heart to do still or in the next 5 years? Or, we're not huge on like lifelong plans because things change and we change, but just what's in your heart. And you don't know that unless you ask. And so, even like I said earlier, with just my own story, is like nearing the next decade of life makes you reflective. And like as the kids grow to a certain age and they don't need me as much as far, they're not babies anymore. They're self sufficient kids and we're in school age season now. And we have one that's almost is driving now, which is crazy. And so it's just that changes a lot. And as you also near that like empty nest phase, which like
Hmm.
we're not there yet. We still have a ways to go, but
Yeah.
like it's on the horizon out there, and that's going to bring changes too in your availability, your time, your ability to focus on different things. And I just think if it's a conversation you should have regularly because new things can pop up. new dreams, new desires. And you don't know that unless you ask and have those conversations. So just so much of happy, thriving marriages goes back to communication. And when you can share those things, share the things that are weighing heavy on you right now, but also sharing the dreams and the desires so that you can do those things. Cause I know like once it was kind of put in my heart to homeschool, we've been doing 6 years now. We took our daughter out of second grade and then we've been homeschooling for the last 6 years, two of the three kids. And it's just that changed a lot. And so that changed then the business part of our life because then it was now I need to be more present in the home.
Mhm.
I'm not living a life. I mean, like our schooling decision was not where I get to drop them off and have several hours of free time during the day to go do something. Like now it's a sacrifice our family's going to make. It restructures the structure of our family because of this choice that in this season is really important. And in this season, it's dictating a lot of the choices we make. But there's going to be a time when we're not doing that anymore. When I'm no longer homeschooling, we're going to have that conversation again, like now that I have all this time and
Right.
all of that. And so it just communication at every level is so important because like you're saying, you just develop dreams and desires and fears that the other person doesn't know. And so you might be running ahead with this vision you think your wife's still on board with,
Yes.
but she changed. There's
Mhm.
something in her heart, there's something going on. And you feel like you're dragging her along, well, like stop and ask a question. Like, what do
Or
you want right
yeah,
now?
you pivoted for a different direction and
Yeah.
she's still wanting to do what you were already doing.
Yeah.
But because you're the A type and you're just like driven and you're not focused, you're focusing on changing and pivoting. And
Hmm.
she might have been just chilling with what you were already doing, and now it's like that conversation like you didn't have the conversation of checking in,
Yeah.
and now she's like, okay, but now we're going this way, and but I was cool here because
Yeah.
and I think you see that all the time as well,
Hmm.
where and vice versa too, because it could be the wife as well. So let's speak to now the wife that's a little bit more ambitious, and the husband that feels like you're dragging the husband along.
Well, and I'll say before you move to the next thing, because I was just
Oh,
something else just came to mind, was
yes.
even if it's just like a short season of something, like I just remember when your dad got sick and was given a diagnosis, it changed our family dynamic for
Mm,
that season.
yeah.
And so he lived another year
Mhm.
essentially. And so that changed everything. So any dreams we had, any routines we had, that kind of thing. So it was that conversation to come together and like what's most important right now in this season and what are we going to flex? What are we going to move? What are we going to put on the back burner to
Right.
like get the most out of this season?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
but
think
you don't know if you don't talk about it. And then that was a
right.
temporary
Right.
situation.
Well, the temporary thing also turned into this
Yeah. Because the new things come up
because it's like,
because of the situation.
yeah, because you put things into perspective now. It's like, well,
Yeah.
what drove you before? Like now doesn't really matter. A
Yeah.
sickness or a death, or a loss of a good friend or family member. You're just kind of like you put things into perspective.
Yeah. You're
It's
face to face with
yeah,
eternity and just the brevity of life. Like life is a vapor. And so to those moments, those life altering moments, if there's like a natural disaster or crisis in the world or COVID, like I'm just thinking of all the big things and then that were like worldwide scale. But then even in your own personal life and the life changing moments that you experience cause you to reflect on your life and your decisions and the place that you are at right now. And so you can reassess all of those things. And I just think that's such an important conversation to have openly with your spouse as you're navigating it
mm,
and during the whole process. Cause like, it's not like it's not like we thought individually and came to a decision and then just told the other person. It's like we really walked side by side in navigating that season and processing that. And then we came to this conclusion of me saying, like, we're going to do what we need to do. Like, and then I could brace myself for home because you were traveling a lot more. He lived 3 hours away. So you were trying to get over there as much as you could to see him and managing business. And, there's a lot of dynamics, but it was like, I know in this season, I'm going to need to show up for you in a certain way.
right.
And that was something you really needed in that season. And so I'm just reflecting on all those things and being there for each other and not because then I'm not resenting when you're gone for a week and I'm with the kids and I'm dealing with the church schedule and the extracurricular activities and the birthday parties and not feeling resentment because I'm doing that alone. It felt like there was actually a deep fulfillment in it because I knew it was serving you in that
Mm.
season. So Don't make me cry. Go on. What was your
Wow.
question?
They're getting emotional here.
It'll pass. Next
Wow.
question.
Wow. So well that's good though. Like because we could in a relationships, there's so many people that are selfish. And like everybody grieves differently, everybody processes things differently, even just simple changes. Like if you grew up never moving before, you lived in this same house your whole entire life, and you get into a relationship with somebody that moved like me, like I moved every 2 years, and those two people come together, there's gonna be even in that seemingly simple thing, there's gonna be little like landmines that keep like what the heck, and it's just like, well, it's like your one person was used to security of the same house, going to the same thing, doing the same thing, the same friends, the same schools, like throughout their whole life. The other one's like, yo, I'm changing every year, every 2 years, we're bouncing around, so like change and this and that is it's a no brainer, but the other person
Mhm.
might. So it's like if we never talk about anything and we just assume and we're like she's just like you or he's just like you, then when those moments happen, there's big fights and big explosions. When you just had a conversation and got to
Mhm.
know somebody and realized like,
Yeah.
hey, like, oh, that's why I act this way because I've lived in the same house my whole entire life and my parents still live there. Versus like, oh, I moved every year we move. We never were in the same house.
Mhm.
It's like, well, obviously, like your feelings and those all those things, are going to be completely different how you respond to things.
Yeah. Well, and I
And
think your intentions, if you just decide right now, like right now today for the rest of your life, I'm going to choose to assume the best in my
oh,
spouse.
you better say it again.
I'm going to choose to assume the best in my
Yeah,
spouse. I'm going to choose to believe that their intentions are good and
yeah,
that they're trying to help me and they're trying to serve me and they're trying to make life better for me and not assume that everything they're doing is just to mess up my plan or that kind of thing, you know? So even in like we talked about our season of homeschooling is at one point like what if I did want to go back to work?
right.
And so now you're working really hard to make this lifestyle where I can stay home. Well, like, what if I actually wanted to go back to work? And you were like, no, you have to stay home. So it's like, but you wouldn't know that if we didn't talk.
Yeah.
And so I think your intentions would be good. Whereas here I am at home, maybe feeling stifled or feeling suppressed or feeling like my dreams are on the back burner. And it's like, no, we just need to have a conversation and be open about it. And those things can go on for years
Hmm.
unaddressed. And both people have good intentions. There just hasn't been a conversation about it.
Yeah, and that's where you see that people after 20 some years get a divorce.
Mhm.
It's like, what in the world? It's just it literally almost always comes back down to communication
Yeah, it's
or
assumptions
as-
that were never
something
talked
that you
about.
communicated and then stopped and you were going a direction, but the other one was like, wait, why are we going that way? But never talked about it because seasons of homeschool, kids events, death in the family, all
Yeah,
these things, and you just never talk about it. And next thing you know, like,
we're
wait, they got a
different people,
divorce
and
or they had
yeah,
an affair or like, wait, what? And so because you stop and that's that mindset that if you're a man watching this and like that mindset of you need to just be constantly pursuing your spouse, your wife. It's the one that you put a ring on, that one. Not the one that you've been having an eye on, the one that you put a ring on and pursue her. Like get like it's just almost like getting to know her again,
mhm,
taking her out on a date, knowing the things that she likes and don't like. You should already probably know those things, and
yeah,
then you just capitalize on the things that she loves and being spontaneous in the things that she might love, and then just build a relationship and a lifestyle that your kids can look upon like, oh man, remember when grandpa or great grandma they how much they loved each other. Like that's ultimately like what it's all about, I mean, at least for us, I guess I
mhm,
should say. But in order to be in love and constantly pursuing your spouse is should hopefully be your number one goal.
yeah. I think your perspective of marriage in general and your role in the marriage can help a lot with any sort of discrepancies in lifestyle or personality or anything like that because at the end of the day when we realize that marriage is designed like we're each other's helper, like we're supposed to serve each other and help each other fulfill what God's called us to do. And so rather than looking at the ways that you're holding me back from doing what I want to do, or I feel like I'm dragging you along with this thing I'm trying to get you to do,
Mhm.
it's like we have an incredible ability, God given ability to see things in each other and to call those things out and to pray for each other and to serve each other and to actively like love each other into becoming the best versions of ourselves so that we can accomplish those dreams and goals that we have. And they're placed in there for a good reason, you know, like to make the world better, to serve our community in some capacity, even if it's through business, you know, like
Right.
creating jobs for people and selling a product or a service that helps enrich people's lives. Like all of those things are good things. And just realizing that we have an important role in each other's life. And so it's not about what you're taking away from me, it's about what you're adding to me. And more importantly, it's about what I can add to you. And so it's a privilege and an honor to get to pray for you and to get to watch you. Like even there's just even things now, you know, in past episodes, we've shared more of the dark, like depth seasons of our marriage.
Mm.
Um, but even in that season, like the things that I felt like God had for me to be praying for you and the things that I could see, but you were just like, you know, under
It was a sabbatical.
it was just a rough season. Stop. It was just a rough season, but like things that you didn't necessarily see in yourself and just
Right.
because like you had a hard heart in that season, but looking now at what we're doing now, it's like I'm seeing the man that I prayed for.
Mm.
And back then, I didn't see him, but I prayed for you as though you were him. You just needed like to be released out of this. I don't even know how to. Okay, you know what I picture every time I think of this season? You're gonna have to write in the comments if you know what scene I'm talking about. Do you know what I picture? At the end, was it at the end? I have not seen this movie in literal decades of Aladdin. No, just listen. And the genie was like he became like in a statue. They like, is that Aladdin? They poured like cement over him or something. I don't remember. Literally, it's been decades since I've seen this movie.
At the
But he's like,
cartoon?
yes, but he's like stuck. I'm getting heated about it.
Oh.
He's stuck in this like statue thing and they have to come and like hammer him out. And then the second there's a crack, it's like he can escape, you know? That's what it felt like. It's a very silly illustration. But that's like the visual I have when I think about that was like you were in like your true, like who God created you to be was in there, but there was just this like hard shell that had been hardened by the world, you know, and just
Mm.
life circumstances and things and as I prayed, you were like, that's what helped free you from that,
Good
you know? And
night.
so it's like, I don't know, just that visual of like calling those things out
Yeah.
of your spouse. So whatever you see right now that you're upset about,
Here
what's
we go.
frustrating you, what's disappointing you,
Let her cook.
those things that you're just like wanting to pull your hair out. And is this ever going to change? Is it always going to be like this? You're just so frustrated. It's like every time you pray for them and every time you kind of back to the beginning, like plant those seeds of belief, speak life, speak encouragement, call those things out, praise them when they do something that you admire or love, or like something that's behavior you're trying to reinforce, I guess. Like every time you do that, they're getting closer and closer to the person that God's called them and created them to
Mm.
be. And sometimes and I'll speak for women, but I think just any human being, we want to just default to change the person to be the person that we want them to be.
Good night.
But it's like they're already designed to be a certain way by God. And so how about you partner with him and pray for them to become who he's called them to be rather than just what I want you to be.
Wow.
So it's not I'm turning you into a little voodoo doll so you can dance and do all the things I want you to do. But actually you'll thrive when you're walking step in step with who God's called you to be. And that's ultimately what I want. At the end,
Mm.
you know, like
Yeah.
on the surface, yeah, I would love for you to cook dinner.
Mm.
He's not going to do that. That's just not that's just not his
It's
DNA.
not me.
But you know what? It's okay because you have all these other giftings and all these other we can hire someone to cook the dinner because I don't want to cook it
Yes.
either. That's a touchy subject, but yeah, you know, like so it's an honor to be in a marriage, but I just think so often we can look at what needs we have that the other person isn't meeting
Yeah.
versus what
And
could we be doing?
we're so quick to just give up.
Yeah.
This is like our society today. This day and age is like on to the next. You're not meeting my needs. I'm out. You know. It's just that culture that's been kind of it's just rampant. Like
Mhm.
it feels like.
Yeah.
Um, and we give up, and at the end of the day, it's like, wait, so you pursued your spouse or however it worked, and then you got into a relationship. Now in America, for most of the part, might get a comment that says otherwise, but forced marriage has gone. It's not really a thing anymore. Is that am I gonna get blasted
Forced
on
marriage, what's it actually called? Arranged marriage.
arranged marriage?
Yeah.
Is that a thing anymore?
I don't know. Is that like certain religions,
I don't know,
cultures?
but maybe I might get slapped out of.
You'll learn.
I'll learn real quick
You'll be
if I'm
taught.
mistaken. If I'm mistaken, but I apologize.
Please let him know.
But here's the deal: for the majority of the people, you're not forced to marry a person. So, what was it that you said yes to, or what was it that you wanted to hear the word yes to, and then what changed? It's like all those dreams, all those little goals, all the little feelings in your stomach, and then now all
Mhm.
of a sudden life happens, and because of what? Then that's life, bro. Like we have to. That's I'm gonna say it again. If you're not constantly pursuing your spouse, those little things that bug you wrong, those little things that he's not changing or she's not changing, they just fester and they get big and big and big until this huge thing just like it's like a veil over your face, and you're not seeing or thinking it the same clearly anymore.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see people just give up because they just didn't want to put in the effort.
And forget their wedding vows ultimately, because we vow for better or worse, rich or poor, sickness and health. And when it gets hard, how often people talk themselves out of
Mhm.
actually walking that out.
Yeah.
And there are certain
Yeah.
situations,
Let's
as a
put a disclaimer
disclaimer,
in there for sure.
there's certain situations, abuse, infidelity, there's certain things that, yes, you do need to, that would
There are
be
grounds that you
even
can,
biblically supported for
right?
divorce. But I mean, I think we're just talking life situations, life circumstances, the ups and downs of people navigating different life situations, and when it gets hard and things aren't as happy as I wanted them to be, or you're not serving me how I wanted you to, then cut and run. And it's like, that's not marriage. That's not what it's designed to be.
No. Did we talk about the girls, or we're still stuck on these us dudes?
What part about the girls?
Well, I'm just saying, like a girl, like
Yeah, we opened up with it. I was talking about like my journey, and girls can be like that. There's a lot of insecurities.
the woman boss though, like the girl
Oh,
boss
okay.
with her husband that's not on board, or who's a little bit more slower to like move, and it feel because fortunately there seems to be a lot of those relationships where you see the woman is definitely the go getter and the husband is clearly not.
Hmm.
Um, how would you speak to that woman?
To that woman.
Yeah, the one that's like she got the goals, she's a boss, she gets things done, makes money. She has these big dreams to do something, but needs just that supporter is not. He's kind of still sitting on the bench.
Hmm. That's a tricky one. Uh, because we've seen that a lot,
That's what
actually.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Uh, it's difficult. It kind of goes back to the idea of like wives submitting to their husbands and the challenge that can be when you're married to someone who's not leading
Mm,
the family. And yet that's still the way that God ordered for the family to function.
right.
And so when the man's not doing that, then the woman has to step up even more. And so at some point, you have to take a back seat and like let him take the lead. And it can be really hard if he's not even like trying to,
Right.
like if there's no vision or no drive, I guess. But I think that's kind of comes back to another like hard conversation and that can be really ego bruising for the man, I'm sure. But ultimately it's like, you're not doing what God's designed you to do. There's so many scriptures about man tend to the garden. Like a man should be working, a man should be providing. It doesn't mean that he needs to even be making more money. Cause if it is like a, girl boss
Right.
situation and like she might be earning more money, but like you still need to be doing something productive in the house.
Yeah.
And how dangerous it is to have idle hands and you're just sitting there playing video games all day or that kind of like if you're not involved at all, there has to be a hard conversation there of what are you doing and where is there a dream in your heart? You know, like what do you think the man would resonate with? You're a tough love giver. So I know you
Yeah.
would have harsh words to say for that man. Back to the Ben's on 11
Yeah. Well, and I
frame of
guess
thought.
because you've been with me,
Yeah.
so you're just used to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this may be a couple that we have to bring on.
Yeah. But
So,
there was that season. I would just remember that season too, which we've talked about. There were 2 years where you did not, you would come to church, but you're very checked out. It was like a very just kind of, you were kind of checked out season. And I think that's when I talk about having hard conversations and getting to the root of stuff. Ultimately, prayer is like what helped me through that season. Um, and speaking to those things. But there was a reason that you were checked out. And so that would be my advice is either hard conversation one-on-one or bring in a trusted mentor type
yeah.
person, not a family member. I wouldn't, not his parents, not your parents. It would be like, I'm thinking a pastor, a counselor, some kind of mentor like that as
Yeah.
like a third party that can help facilitate that conversation. But
I think from what I've seen and just like in our men's group and just different like books that I've read and different podcasts that I've listened to and conversations that I hear, a lot of it is there's a root of something in a man.
yeah.
And that's the reason why he ends up shaping into what he is today.
Hmm.
Because like a woman, like I feel like you girls can just be chilling 1 minute, next thing you're hurt, next thing you're devastated, next thing then you're good to go. Like you know what I mean? It's just like,
You make
whoa,
it sound so simple.
like look at her go. She's remember she was just depressed last month, and now she's good. That's what it seems like for a
I
man.
think there's probably like a monthly cycle maybe that you're more
Maybe I don't.
observing.
But here's what I'm saying is
Right.
like a girl can change quick and be good. You know, where a guy like it seems like years is like, bro, is this dude ever gonna pull his head out of it out or what? So he can smell the blue sky and fresh air. You know what I mean? But I think so. Ultimately, I believe that it stems from like child hurt, like with their
Mhm.
father. Most likely, it's unfortunately like the dad hurt or whatever, or even the mom. Abusive relationships or something that was just spoken over him.
Yeah.
Like a man that's been just beat down or like just have negative things spoken over him. He kind of develops into this way that he's just unsure. And it's interesting that that guy gets with like a girl boss. Is that weird to you?
Yeah.
Like,
Like how did that start? If
what?
like she's so ambitious
She's
and
so
he's
ambitious, but then like you get with a dude that's just kind of like just chilling. But it's just well, there's a lot of other guys that you know what I mean. So, but it's just
mhm.
interesting that like, those sometimes attract each other, or maybe it's they were two broken people got together, and then she found healing. She kind of came up, and then he still kind of just hasn't dealt with
Or
anything.
she's in survival mode
Yeah,
because someone's got to pay the bills.
right. And so I think it goes back to just that communication of like finding out like that root. Maybe it
Mhm.
might be a journey to unpack it.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's where we we just stay there because we never talk about it. And then sometimes like for me in my season, like I felt like I just chose to do it.
Yeah, you did. It was a hard-headed
So, that
season.
was a hard I was just like, no, I'm good. It was just like adamant. Like
Yeah.
I'm just not you're not budging me.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why that element of prayer is so important
Right.
because you need that discernment to know why.
Yeah.
Is it a root of hurt? Is it a root of bitterness? Is it shame?
Yeah.
Is
I
it like,
think it
what is
only
it?
was because you prayed is probably why I got out of it. Because if you didn't put in, if you weren't self-sacrificing in your love walk that time, and you just like this dude, we probably would be in that same situation, or just not together, because I would have just stuck that course out. I dug down deep
You
in
dug
that
deep.
and just like not moving.
What's interesting too is I think kind of back to, I'm talking about having a conversation and confronting and all that. But at some point, if that happens and it doesn't change, is it has to be God at that point. And I think that's the realization I came to because women can be really good at manipulating circumstances and trying to get the solution or get the behavior modification that they want to see. but it will always only be surface. If he does cave in and, does whatever you're wanting him to do in that moment, it's going to be just to make you happy. It's not going to be because his heart changed. And for me in that season, learning that with you was, I don't want you to just change your behavior to make me happy, because it's not going to last. But if God gets a hold of you, like at that point, especially because it was hard-headedness and all of that, the humility that's required to change at that point had to come from something deeper than just because I told you to, or because a friend told you to, or a pastor or somebody. It was not going to be the change that needed to happen, was not going to be because someone told you needed to change. It was going to be because God got a hold of you and spoke something in a way that you could have only received it that way. And then it was your own choice to make changes, your own choice to walk this different way. And I think that's why we are where we are now, and we're so secure now, and our love is so, like, our marriage is in such a different place where I trust you. Like, we trust each other, and we trust that we love each other at such a deep level. And kind of back to, like I was saying, always just choose to believe the best. Like, I truly do believe the best in you, and believe that you're thinking the best for me and feeling the best for me, because it brought an intimacy, like walking through that season brought an intimacy in our relationship that could not have come any other way, I don't think. And so that's why we're so secure and stable now, is because at the very deepest level, we rebuilt the foundation of our marriage on, we are choosing to be a team. We are choosing to be in this thing called life together forever, no matter what. And so I never have to question your motives. I never have to question, even when you come home on 10 and you like might have a tone or snap about something, or, like, I can be a lot quicker at letting it go and not internalizing that, because I know you love me, and I know that wasn't about me. That was about something else that happened out in the world during your day, and I think it just, that changed like truly the core of our marriage, and has shaped us into who we are now, that like we can literally walk through anything and we're going to come out on the other side stronger. And we know that we're in it together. We're like the strongest team we could ever be, because we've both like basically given our relationship to God, and we've both decided we're going to honor God no matter what. And if we choose to honor God, we will always honor each other. That's like a natural byproduct. I never have to question your motives in anything, because I know that even more than you love me, even more than you want to honor me, you want to honor God. And that's my securities in that. Not even just like you and your behavior or your words, I love you.
I love you.
Knock that one in
Power
there.
team. We hope this conversation helps you. Communication obviously is so important. It's so vital for the health of your relationship. No matter where you're at, we know that just really good communication and being on the same team will fix most of your issues. And ultimately, I'm gonna go back right to this, that you need to be pursuing your spouse, like from the beginning, when you first met that person, and all those little feelings that you had, that pursuit. Why did it stop? Let's go back to the pursuit and that love and being on the same team, that you can continue on this journey side by side, doing life together with a purpose. See you next time.